computer. I'm uploading to YouTube. So let's see if we are joined by Ms. Rodriguez, because she just sent me an email a few minutes ago that she passed her exam. So hopefully she joins us so we can get some insight into her experience with the exam. So, all right. So does anybody have any concept or mathematical issues or problems that they had that they've been working on during the week?
Yeah, I have a problem, Ms. Tinsley.
Okay, what's that problem?
In a perpendicular line and parallel line.
Okay, parallel and perpendicular line. So I'm gonna use Schoology because I have I made some specific stuff for parallel and perpendicular lines. Now, recently, people have been having both questions. What is the equation of a line that's parallel? What's the equation of a perpendicular line? So usually they, in the past, they would only give one. Recently, they've been giving both. So you want to, that's actually a good question. So let me log into Schoology and let's find some parallel and perpendicular. Well, first of all, let's start. What do we know about parallel lines?
Parallel line, it never cross.
Okay, and because they never cross, what relationship do we know about their slope?
They have the same slope.
They have the same slope. Okay, perfect. Okay, what is a what are perpendicular lines?
Perpendicular line, it's they cross in a 90-degree.
Yes, they cross and they form a 90-degree angle. So if you know the definitions of parallel and perpendicular lines, and you know that the slope is a constant rate of change, you know slopes of parallel lines, they will never cross. The reason why they'll never cross is because they have the same slope.
Yeah.
Okay. For perpendicular lines, there are two lines that will cross, but form a 90-degree angle. That's very important. So there we go. Let me open this up here. Let me put it on the screen. Let's go to preview. And again, this is on Schoology. So once you understand or have a good understanding of parallel and perpendicular lines, go ahead and take this quiz. Make sure you understand.
I took it many times, but I always have this equation. I didn't pass it.
Okay, so this question here, did you understand this question?
No, this one no, and I got this wrong.
Okay, so first of all, you have two different lines, correct? The first equation of the line is 3x plus 4, and the second equation of the line is y equals 3x minus 5. So let's look at this first equation. What is the slope of this first equation?
But this is 3. The slope is 3.
What is the y-intercept?
It's 4.
The second equation, what's the slope?
It's 3.
3. And what's the y-intercept?
Minus 4. This is parallel line.
These are parallel lines.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
That's simple. Being able to identify.
Yeah.
Being able to identify. Let me take a screenshot. The slope, because they can give it to you in standard form, or they could give it to you in slope-intercept form. Okay. How about this question? It says, find the equation of a line passing through the given point and perpendicular to the given equation. Write the answer in slope-intercept form.
Yeah.
So
this question, Ms. Tinsley, you need to solve it for y first and plug the point, or
well, I mean, you can do it that way, but again, in the ebook and in class, I'll show you an easy way to find a slope given the standard form. Can anybody tell me if you're given a linear equation in standard form? Let me change the red. If you're given an equation in standard form, how can we quickly find the slope? Can anybody tell me? Now you could solve for y, but I'm going to show you a much easier way. So standard form is AX plus BY equals C. Okay, so if we're looking at this equation, minus X plus 2Y equal minus 20. A is what? What's the coefficient of the X?
Minus 1.
Minus 1. What's the coefficient of the Y?
2.
2. And what's the constant?
Minus 20.
Minus 20. So you should be able to easily identify A, B, and C. First of all, you got to identify this equation that is in standard form. Standard form is AX plus BY equals C. Once you know that, you can identify A, B, and C. So I'll give you a nice, easy way to find the slope of a linear equation in standard form. I tell you, take the opposite of A and put it over B. Okay, so if A is -1, what's the opposite of -1?
1.
1. What's B?
Minus 2.
What's B?
B minus 2.
What's B?
2. 2.
2. So the slope of this line is what?
1 over 2.
1 over 2. Okay, so that's the first thing. In order to find the y-intercept from standard form, we do C over B. What's C?
Minus 20.
Minus 20. What's B?
2.
2. What's -20 divided by 2?
Negative 10.
-10. So we know our slope, we know our y-intercept. So now, we know our slope, we know our y-intercept, but that's not what they want. They want to know the equation of the line that's perpendicular. So if we know the slope is 1/2, what is the slope of a line that's perpendicular to this line?
Minus 2.
Minus, because while we change the sign,
Yeah.
and we flip. So since it's positive, it's negative, and we flip
Negative.
2 over 1, which comes -2. So we know right away, just because we know the slope is -2, it's not B, it's not C, it's not D. We don't even have to find the y-intercept now. We don't even have to plug the point in. Why? Because the slope of this line was 2. The slope of this line was 1/2. The slope of this line was -1/2. So just by the process of elimination, we eliminated 3 and we have our answer. Now, I want to complete the problem, just in case you didn't know. Okay, so what we want to do is we know the slope of the perpendicular is -2. We know that it passes through -4, 1. What information can we get from the point -4, 1? What information can we get from the point -4, 1?
Write your answer in slope intercept. Y
So
and X.
when you get the point, what information is it giving you? Remember, when you're given X and Y, when you are given an ordered pair, they're giving you X and Y. So now we know X and Y, so we're going to do Y equal MX plus B.
Plus B.
What is Y?
1.
1 equal. What is our slope?
2. Minus 2.
Minus 2. What's our X?
Minus 4.
Minus 4 plus B. So all we did was substitute X and Y from the point and the slope that we just determined. So 1 equal, what is -2 times
8.
-4?
8.
8 plus B. How can we get the B all by itself?
Minus 8.
Minus 8 from both sides. So B, the 8's cancel, we bring down our equal. What's -8 plus 1?
Minus 7.
Minus 7. So we know our y-intercept, we know our slope. Our equation on the line is going to be what?
Minus 2x minus 7.
The equation line starts with what?
Y equal.
Y equal. Y equal what?
Minus 2x minus B.
There we go. And also that was A. So we've been determined the answer was A because we eliminated the 3. But I wanted to show you from start to finish that if you're given a point in the slope, because you will be given a point in the slope, and you will have to find the equation of the line. You will have to find the equation of a line that's parallel. And you may have to find the equation of a line that's perpendicular. But if you know how to use a point in the slope to find the equation of the line, you can do all three types of those problems as long as you understand parallel lines have the same slope. To find the slope of the perpendicular, you take the negative inverse.
Yeah.
You got me?
Yes, thank you.
So now you should be able to go through that quiz and score 80 or above.
Yeah.
So if you notice in this practice test, I got a bunch of different conceptual questions. Here you got to find the perpendicular here, gives you practice. Here you have to find the line that's parallel. Here I'm asking you, are these two lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? So what you want to do to get ready for this math test is you want to be prepared. You want to be prepared for any question that to give you. So you must have a conceptual understanding, you must practice, and you must know how to use this calculator. All right, so that hopefully that answers your question. Can you do a probability question from a science point? Yes, I can. Let's see. Let me grab something real quick. This is on probably every GED question. Let me find it real quick. Where are you? Where are you? Let me see if I got any ready already. I haven't had anybody take this science. Let me see if I got anything here. No, I don't. Okay, I don't have anything. Let me check my email real quick. Give me a quick second. Let me pause the recording. Just remind me when I come back to put it back on. Okay, so you want to be able to do probability. Remember, probability is selected outcomes over total outcomes. Has anybody taken the science exam? Has anybody taken the science exam?
No, but I have went over Punnett squares.
Okay.
Yes, I have taken the science exam.
Okay, so the science, the Punnett squares is a probability question. Okay.
It's on there.
Punnett squares almost every science exam. So
Yes.
I'm gonna do a quick problem now. But I don't know how I'm gonna explain this without going deep into. You might have to watch this video a couple times because Punnett squares can be difficult. Okay. So first of all, Punnett squares have to do with heredity. Okay. And it goes by heredity has to do with your genes. Okay, so you have a dominant gene and you have what's called recessive genes. Okay, they like to use the word allele on the exam, but you got to know dominant and recessive. So if it's a dominant gene, it takes over. Just remember that. So if you see a dominant or a capital letter, it takes over, whatever that trait is. Next thing you got to know is homozygous and heterozygous. Oh my God, Mr. Tinsey, all this vocabulary. Go back to what you know. Homo, hetero. So what words do we use every day? Homosexual, heterosexual. We know what those mean. Homosexual, right? Same sex. Heterosexual, different sex. So homo means same, hetero means different. Homo, same, hetero means different. Okay, so when they talk about homozygous, mean they're going to be the same. Heterozygous means they're going to be different. Okay, so let's look at this question here. It says, Tom, father was a purebred tongue roller. That means both of his genes are dominant. Why? Because they're capital T's. His mother was a hybrid or heterozygous because they're different. Hybrid tongue roller where you have a dominant and a recessive gene. So the dominant genes are capital letters. The recessive genes are lowercase letters. Okay. So the genetic match, let me see. Okay. How am I going to get this whole thing in the screen without, it's going to have to be small. I apologize, but I can't. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. So how are we going to set this up? Well, first of all, the male is going to go on the left. The female is going to go on the right. So we know our male is a capital T and a capital T. We know our female is capital T and lowercase t. So a dominant and a recessive. Now we want to look at each cell in the intersection. So if I go to this first cell here, it's a capital T and a capital T. If I go to this cell, it's the intersection of a capital T and a capital T. If I go to this cell here, it's a capital T and a lowercase t. And if I go to this cell here, it's an intersection of a dominant and a recessive gene. So if you notice, I said two different things. That's so you understand that mean the same thing. So as you look at each one, what did I tell you? I said the dominant gene takes over. So the capital T means the person is a tongue roller, means they can roll their tongues. So in this first cell, is that person going to be a tongue roller? Or if they get that gene, will it be a tongue roller?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let me make a little red one. So here, that's a tongue roller. If the person has these genes, if they get those genes, would it be a tongue roller?
Yes.
Yes. If they get these two genes, will it be a tongue roller?
50%. No.
Okay, remember what I told you. Dominant
Oh,
gene
dominant,
takes over.
dominant. Yes, yes,
So it'll
yes.
be a tongue roller, and this will also be a tongue roller. So now, two things you got to understand. The genotype is the genes. So what that means is you got two options here. You got a capital T and a capital T, and you got a capital T and you got a lowercase t. So the probability of the genotype being two dominant genes is 2 out of 4, or 1/2, or 0.5, or 50%. So the probability that the genotype will be two dominant genes is 50%.
Right.
Same thing for a dominant and a recessive. How many do you have? I have 2. How many total do you have? 4. So again, that's 1/2, or 0.5, or 50%. That's the genes. Remember genotype. So you can remember genotype. The phenotype is the trait, the physical trait. So the phenotype is the physical trait. So all of these are tongue rollers. So it doesn't matter. Tongue roller is 100%.
Right.
So that's the difference between. So sometimes they ask you for the genotype, sometimes they ask you for the phenotype. So you will have a question like this on your science exam. So let me do one more real quick. I know, oh, Mr. Tensley, this is science. We're supposed to be here for math. But guess what? Probability is math. And if you haven't taken your science exam, this is a question you almost guaranteed to see. Okay?
Right.
So let's go to one that's a little bit different. So they all won't be. Let me see. Nope, that one, I don't want that one. I don't want that one. Let me see. Okay. All right, so let's try this one. I'm sorry, you heard me mumbling. That was me trying to just read it real quick to see if I can get the answers real quick. So Alex had 2 hybrid black rats. He allowed his black rats to mate and was shocked to see that 3 of the rat babies were black and 1 was albino. Oh, how could that happen? So albino was absence of color, but they mated 2 black rats and 1 came out albino. What? How can that happen? Well, I'm gonna show you with a Punnett square and heredity how that works. So remember, Alex had 2 hybrid black rats with a dominant gene of black and a recessive gene of albino. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
So we're gonna do the male and the female again. So let me scroll down. Let me see. Okay, there we go. And we're gonna do capital A, lowercase a. And I'm gonna put the male over here, female over here. Capital A, lowercase a. So this first cell, let me change my color. This first cell here, what is the intersection of the 2 genes?
It's gonna be, for the first one, it's gonna be 2 A's, 2 capital.
2 capital A's. Perfect. both of those genes are dominant because they're capital. If I go to this cell here, what's going to be the intersection of the two genes?
The small
It's
a
gonna
and
be
capital A.
small a and a large.
Okay, so usually you always put the dominant gene first. Why? Because it's dominant. It should go first. It's going to take over. Okay, if we go to this cell here, what is going to be the intersection of these two?
The capital A and the lowercase a.
And then we go to this last intersection of the two cells. What are you going to have?
Two lowercase.
Two lowercase. So now I'm going to change the blue. Let's go to that first cell again. Is this going to be black or albino?
It's gonna be black.
Black. Because we have both are more dominant. If we go to this cell here, is it going to be black or albino?
Black.
It's gonna be black
Why?
because it has a dominant
Has a
gene.
dominant gene. Same thing for here, black,
Right.
because of the dominant gene. Now, if you look at this fourth one, both two recessive genes of albino, what color is going to be that? If they get
White.
those two genes, it's going to be what?
White.
Yeah, albino.
Oh,
Or albino. So the genotypes, you got three different. So you have capital A, you have a dominant, recessive, and then you have two recessive. So this would be called a homozygous
tigers.
dominant.
Okay.
Why? Because homo, they're the same. This
Mhm.
second one will be heterozygous. Why? Because they're different.
Mhm.
And then the last one will be homozygous
Homozygous.
recessive. Why? Because they're both the same. I can't spell recessive. I forgot to C here. So REC. I just totally messed that one up. Homozygous recessive. Okay. Now, how many do I have with both dominant A's? How many do I have?
2.
You sure about that?
You have 3. I'm sorry.
You sure about that? How many
With dominant
genotypes
A,
that
with
just
the dominant, you have
One.
one?
And
You only
one.
have one
One.
out of total 4. So 0.25 or 25%. So the probability of a person having 2 dominant genes, or that offspring having 2 dominant genes, is only 25%. Now, has a dominant and a recessive? How many do I have in this Punnett square?
2.
2. So the selected outcomes is 2. How many total do I have? 4.
50%.
1/2, 0.5, or 50%. Now, you should notice I'm doing fraction, decimal, percent equivalence, because sometimes with probability, they'll have fractions. Sometimes they'll have decimal. Sometimes you have percent. You have to be ready for all 3. The last one, how many do I have in my Punnett square? The
One.
homozygous recessive, 1 out of 4, which is 0.25, which is 25%. 25%. Now, the phenotype is the actual trait. Is it black rat or is it albino? How many black do I have?
2.
Sure about that?
3.
3. 3 out of how many?
4.
4.
4.
What's the decimal equivalent of 3/4?
0.75.
0.75. And what is 0.75 as a percent?
75%.
75%. Now, albino, how many do we have? 1 out of how many?
4.
4, which is 0.25, which is 25%. So you have to be ready if they ask you about the genotype probability, or if they ask you about the phenotype. You got to know genotype is genes, have to do with the genes. So you go back to your Punnett square and get your genes from the Punnett square. The phenotype is the characteristic or the trait, the physical trait. Is it black? Is it albino? What's the probability of having a black rat? 75%. What's the probability of getting an albino rat? 25%. Did that help you?
Yes.
You definitely gonna
Thank
have it,
you.
so be ready. You're so welcome. Def, so if you have not
Thank
taken
you,
your
Mr.
science exam,
Tanji.
make sure you understand this. That you're going to have it. So Darlene, you getting ready for your science, make sure you know it.
Miss Tinsley, this is for science or math?
Well, this could be, okay, this particular problem is for the science exam. But probability as a concept can be given on your math or your science exam. So remember, probability is selected outcomes over total outcomes. So if you know that definitions, what does selected mean? Well, the probability you're looking for. So if I want to know the probability of black rats, how many black rats do I have? 3. That's my selected outcomes. How many total outcomes can I have? 4. So 3/4 is 0.75, which is 75%. Everybody understand that?
Yes, I got it.
Good, good. All right, let's go back to strictly math. Strictly math. So what I'll do is I'll send you this sheet. Anybody who's taking the science soon, what you can do is you can send me, let me know in the chat. I'll send you this probability worksheet that I have. You definitely gonna have one of these. And sometimes what they'll do is they give you one question with a Punnett square, but then they'll give you one problem with Punnett square, but they'll ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
Know
Thank
that
you.
if on the science exam, the reading exam, and social studies exam, this is also very important that you understand this. There is no partial credit. So if you have multiple parts in a question, you need to get them all right to get the problem right.
Okay, got it.
Okay. All right. What else do we have for math? Any other problems, any other concepts that you've been working on this week that you want me to go over? Anything, it does not matter. Anything you've been working on, anything that gave you some problems. If you didn't get over 80 on a quiz, that means you need to practice, and you might want to bring that up to me in tonight's session. So when you go over my quizzes in Schoology, mastery to me is 80 or above. So if you don't have an 80 or above, keep working on that as a quiz till you get an 80. Find out why you don't have 80, why you're missing. Oh, I have a good question. I saw several people getting this incorrect. So I want to make sure and this is an easy problem. If I have a graph and I have a horizontal line, so say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the slope of a horizontal line? What is the slope of a horizontal line? Say that again, I'm sorry. 0. A lot of people have been missing this question. The slope of a horizontal line is 0. For example, let me give you let me prove it to you. Say, for example, I have a point here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm at a point here. So here, my x is 0. My y is 4. Here, oops, 5. I can't even count. So hold on. 5. Here, this point is 4, 5. Everybody understand how I got those coordinates of those 2 points? That's also another guaranteed question on your exam. What is the ordered pair of points? It's an easy question. X before Y. Each point is an ordered pair, X, Y. So let me prove it to you. We know the slope from our formula sheet is x2 minus x1 over y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm gonna prove it to you. So y2, so let me change my color. So we're gonna call this x1. We're gonna call this y1. We're gonna call this x2. We're gonna call this y2. Well, Mr. Tinsley, how do you determine which one is one, which is one? It don't matter. Whatever your first point is, That's your 1. Denote it with a 1. Whatever your second point is, denote that as a 2. So x1 and y1 are from the first point. x2 and y2 are from the second point. So watch this. y2, 5 minus 5 over 4 minus 0. 5 minus 5 is 0. 4 minus 0 is 4. 0 over anything is equal to what?
0.
0. That's why the slope of any horizontal line, a horizontal line, slope is equal to 0. Gotta know that. Now, okay, let me show you the other version of that. Boop, boop, boop. Let me count. Sorry about my my sound effects here. I always do it. All right, so let's put point here, point here. What's this? What kind of line is this? If the other was a horizontal line, what type of line is this?
Undefined.
No, what kind of line is this?
Oh my
Vertical.
God.
A vertical line.
Vertical, you right.
Okay, you must know. Also, you must know terminology. So even though when you're going through mathematical terms, when you're going over something, say the terminology. Because sometimes vertical line, horizontal line. Okay, you want to make sure you attach the term with the visual. So the vertical line is up and down, the horizontal line is left to right. So what I used to tell my students is horizontal, horizon. Right? Okay, so vertical line. So what is the slope of a vertical line?
Undefined.
Undefined. Very important you know that. It is undefined. Why? Let's look at these points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6, 1. This is 6, 2, 4, 6, 7. Again, m equal y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to call this my first point. So I'm going to call this x1. I'm going to call this y1. I'm going to call this x2. I'm going to call this y2. So y2 minus y1. So y2 is 1 minus 7. x2 is 6 minus 6. So we get negative 6 over 0. Anything over 0 is what?
Undefined.
Undefined. That's why a vertical line, the slope is undefined. Now you know. Now you have the conceptual understanding. Sometimes what we do in math, we just want to remember how to do something, but we don't know why. So now I gave you the conceptual understanding of a horizontal line, slope is 0. A vertical line, the slope is undefined. Learning some things tonight. Woo! All right, what's next? What's next? Any other questions or any other concepts people had issues with? Let me, why is my Schoology not open? Closed it. Because I've seen a lot of people taking quizzes this week. So nobody had anything that they didn't understand. It doesn't have to just be Schoology, whether it's the Kaplan book, something you did in class. It does not matter where you had the problem. If you having issues with any type of problem, this is the time to go over, because I'm going to show you step by step how to do it.
Okay. I have one, Ms. Tinsley.
Yes.
George rides his bike 9 kilometers south and then 12 kilometers.
Oh, I got to type that in. Hold on, I got to type that in. You said George
rides
his bike
9 kilometers south
9 kilometers south
and then 12 kilometers east.
Okay.
How far is the from his streeting points?
How far is he from what?
How far is he from his streeting point?
His destination. Okay. So when you look at this, right, you say,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start. What type of problem is this? Can anybody tell me what type of problem is this? You may not know. Does anybody know what type of problem is this? Okay, so let me help you. It may, it's this, you can be considered distance, but we don't want to use the distance formula. So we're going to not say. So first of all, go with what we know. He rides his bike 9 kilometers south. Is that up or down?
Down.
Down. So I went down 9 kilometers. Which way is east? Left or right?
Right.
Right. Boom, boom, boom.
The right triangle.
A right triangle. Bam, bam, bam. Stop playing. So now, because you know it's a right triangle and you're missing a leg, what formula are we going to use to solve this problem?
A square plus B square equals C square.
And what is that? What is that? What theorem is that called?
Pythagorean theorem.
Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So remember, you may not have to do every question, but just look at the givens. He went 9 kilometers south. He went 12 kilometers east. Now you see that right angle, and you know that's Pythagorean theorem. So the first thing you should do is, if you've been in my class for a while, there are two types of right triangles you should know. They are the 3, 4, 5 and the 5, 12, 13. These are the ratios that are most common on standardized exams. Now I'm gonna show you a nice little trick. Well, I'm gonna show you how to do the Pythagorean theorem, but I'm gonna show you a nice little trick. So first of all, when I say 3, 4, 5, that's A, B, and C. So your legs are your A and B. Your hypotenuse is your C. Your hypotenuse is always your C. So watch this. So my legs are 9 and 12. How do I know? Because that side opposite my 90 degree is my hypotenuse. I don't know it. So I was given the 2 legs. So I put my leg here, 9. What do I have to multiply 3 by to get 9?
By 3.
By 3. So I'm gonna do that for every part of my triangle. What is 4 times 3?
12.
12. Those are my 2 legs, 9 and 12. So what's 5 times 3?
15.
I'm done. My hypotenuse is 15. I'm finished. Going. Easy problem. 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13. You should know those. And any multiple of those. So 6, 8, 10, 9, 12, 15, 12, 16, 20, 15, 20, 25, any multiple. So what I did was I wrote my 3, 4, 5 down. And I said, okay, let's see if I can find a factor that I would multiply 3 by to get 9. It's 3. So let me test the other leg out. 4 times 3 is 12. Now I know 9 and 12. You could have went like this. Let me change the color. You could have said, okay, 3, 4, 5. Let me put my 12 here. Well, you should notice 3 times 4 is 12. If I multiply 4 by 4, you get 16. That's not my 2 legs. So it's not, my smallest leg is not 12. So that's how you find out quickly that your shortest leg is not 12, it is 9. Everybody understand that? Now, let me show you how you would do this using the Pythagorean theorem. Let me change back to black. So my A is 9, my B is 12. So 9 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. 81 plus 144 equals C squared. If I add those two together, what is 144 plus 81?
225.
225 equals C squared. What's the opposite or the inverse operation of squaring something?
Square root.
Take the square root of both sides. We get C is equal to, and what is the square root of 225? Does anybody know?
Yeah, what's up?
15.
15. Well, didn't we just get 15 much easier?
First, the tree and some produce.
Exactly. I like your way. That's the way I do it, but your way was so much easier.
Yes. Knowing those 2 special triangles, 3, 4, 5, and 5, 12, 13. And I'm talking about SAT, I'm talking about GED, I'm talking about your college entrance exams. Those are the 2 most common triangles that are used on standardized exams. So you should know them. It makes a problem like this, you're done in seconds. Now, let me show
Right.
you using the calculator, of course. Do I have my calculator open? Yes, I do. Again, I want to show you the easiest ways possible. Let me find my eraser. I'm going to take, oops, I didn't mean to erase the 9. Oops, sorry about that. Didn't read the erase the 9. I want to erase the blue.
That was a real quick way. I'm gonna use that because I know I'm gonna need that.
Yes. So again, have a conceptual understanding of where these things come from, right? So for example, let's look at this right here. I want to show you where I got this from to put in my ebook so you can do it quickly. If I want to solve for c squared, right? C squared. If I want to solve for c, I need to take the square root of both sides because the inverse operation of squaring is square root. So I take the square root of both sides. I get c equal to square root of a squared plus b squared. Now, you grab your calculator and watch how easy this question becomes. Instead of 2 minutes, I'm gonna have to clear the whole thing out. 9 and 12, right? Let me clear the whole thing out first, because you can't see it. 9 and 12 are 2 legs. Watch this. I'm gonna show you. Instead of spending 2 and 3 minutes on a problem, watch this. Second square root 9 squared plus 12 squared. Get out of my square root, press enter. I'm done. 5 to 10 seconds.
Wow.
And this is considered on your exam from a difficulty of medium. This is why I'm telling you. This is why I tell everybody, listen, take the time to go through the ebook. Linear equations, Pythagorean theorem, system of equations, boom. Evaluating an algebraic expression, evaluating a function. Those are the things right there. That's 5 to 15 questions on your exam that the ebook will show you how to do in less than a minute. Look how fast I did it. It didn't even take me long. I just need to identify. Remember the 2 things I'm looking at when I get it. So 9 kilometers east. Boom. 9 kilometers south, 12 kilometers east. There's my right triangle. So this is my leg, my 2 legs. Boom. This is my hypotenuse. Boom. Done. So these are the types of problems. And listen, it's a Pythagorean theorem on every single test. There's not one. If anybody here is taking a math exam, you've seen a Pythagorean theorem problem where you have to find the missing side of a right triangle. Okay, so be prepared. Okay, all right. Any other questions? Time is flying. It's already 6:50.
Can you give something in equality, some equation?
Inequality. Okay, let me grab something from Schoology. Just gonna grab something from. And again, all of this is available to you free. All you need is your time to practice. Now, this is what happens though. Sometimes you score 30 or you score 40 or you score 50 and you've been studying for hours, you've been studying for weeks and you got this 30 and 40 and you're just discouraged and you're upset at yourself and you just want to give up. Let me explain something to you. Giving up is not an option. If you want your diploma, if you want that better job, if you want to have it for your children, giving up is not an option. So don't look at 30, 40, or 50. Don't look at the grade. Look at it like this. That's telling me I need to study this topic more. Don't look at it as you're failing. Look at it as, you know what? I need to study this concept more so I'll be prepared for when they give it to me on the test. Basically, that's it. Understand that you cannot be successful without failing. Not anybody. Failure is a part of success. That's how you build character. But if you sit there and say, I failed, oh my God, I give up, I can't do it. Guess what? If you don't do it, you're never going to have it. And if you never get it, you're always going to doubt your mind about doing anything. Once you prove to yourself that you can do something that you thought you couldn't do, your whole world opens up. It's magical because you think like, oh my goodness. I had a young lady today, and listen, I can show you on my phone. She got her GED in 2018. That's 5 years ago. She called me up today and said, I'm graduating with my degree. I wanted to thank you. She said, because I was walking out the door because they told me it'd be no way because my reading level and my math levels were so low, there was no way that I could be able to get my GED. This was she was told by somebody else. You stopped me in my tracks, Mr. Tinsley. You said anything worth having will take sacrifice. So if you want this diploma and you put the hard work in, I'll help you get it. She remembered me from 5 years ago. And she said she called every number that she had trying to find me, and she found me today and told me that good news. Her graduation was tonight. Only reason I couldn't make it because I had GED Math this session tonight. But if it was any other day of the week, I'd have went to her graduation. If it was any other day of the week, I would have went to her graduation. Yep. But what I did tell her was, I said, listen, she wants to go to nursing school. She's already registered. I mean, she already finished, but she got to take her TEAS test next. So she's going to take her TEAS test. All right, so inequality. Let's do this right here. So first of all, what I want to do is I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to do this problem first. And because on average, you have 120 minutes for 40 questions, I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes. And after 3 minutes, I'm going to go over this problem. But if you get an answer, A, B, C, or D, I want you to send it to me in the chat. So this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. And I'm going to start the timer now. You have 3 minutes to solve this problem. Let me get my timer.
Okay,
You have 3 minutes and send me your answer in the chat.
I gotta do this on hand. I can't.
Oh, somebody been trying to get into the. Oh, I am so sorry. She tried to get into the. She was unable to get in. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, let me send her the link real quick.
Very cool images literally out of this world. Another bear story here for you. It looks like the face of a tango.
Oh, I apologize.
Right here is a naturally occurring formation made by the red surface. A surface fracture made of a mile around a mile wide there forms the head, while two craters in a collapsed volcano form the eyes.
I sent my result.
Okay. I'm trying to send this email. Somebody been trying to get on for 30 minutes. I didn't hear my text go off. So let me just send her the link. There's only a couple minutes left, but at least if she gets to chime in, she can see how many other people are on this same track. Because when you see somebody else, trying to get the same thing you're doing, it's like a certain amount of support for 8, 12, 16 people here this evening. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I love it. All right, let me check the answers. So I have your answer. Oh, but don't send it to everyone. Send it directly to me. Okay, T, I have your answer. Miss Tally, I have your answer. We got about 1:45 seconds left. A minute has already gone by. Time flies when you're having fun, don't it? Time flies when you're having fun. Let's see. Okay, Nina, I got your message. If you are new this evening, make sure you put your your email in the chat. So I have it so you can get a copy of this session tonight. Oh, I'm sorry, Nina, I missed your question about the lowercase a. That's because that's homozygous recessive. And those two lowercase a's, lowercase means it's recessive. And the lowercase recessive gene was albino. So the only way it could be lowercase a, because if you had a capital A, it would make the rat black. So it had to be two lowercase a's. Sorry, I missed that. I didn't see it in the chat. I apologize. So remember, if you are new this evening, make sure you drop your email in the chat.
Don't use it if you're allergic to this. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. The increased risk of infections.
And I wish Miss Rodriguez was here this evening so she could tell us the good news. I thought she was going to come. So you'll see probably tonight or tomorrow morning, I'll be sending out a congratulations to one of your other classmates. She took her exam today and passed. So I thought she was going to come this evening and give a little, but she didn't. So I'm going to try to get her next week. Now, if can y'all see my phone? I don't know why the alarm didn't go off. It says minus, like it went past the 3 minutes. So time is now up. So you might be asking yourself, man, he's mean. He's setting that timer for 3 minutes. That's too fast. I don't know how to do inequalities. So you might have that thought. The reason why I time you is that you should be able to do almost every single question on the GED within 3 minutes. Why? Because there's 120 minutes on exam. There's about 40 questions. So on average, you should take about 3 minutes for each question. So while you're practicing, you should also do the same thing. Because the reason why most people do not pass is because they don't finish. And they don't finish because they spend too much time on problems. Got to keep that in mind. All right, so let's do this inequality. Okay, so I don't know what the answer is because I haven't done this problem. I made it up months ago. So first of all, x divided by 3 minus 9 is less than or equal to minus 12. Okay, so let's look at this first. So what side is our variable on?
Negative.
No, what side is our variable on, the left or the right side?
Left.
No.
Left side. How
Yeah.
many terms do we have on the left side?
2.
2. So we have x minus 3 and we have minus 9. So if I'm trying to get the variable by itself, what term should I get rid of first?
3.
Nope,
Minus 9.
the minus 9.
We need to add
Remember,
9.
you want to remove everything that's
Yeah.
not included with the variable first. So what's the opposite of minus 9?
We're going to add 9 both sides.
We're going to add 9 to both sides. So we get x divided by 3. The
Equal
9's cancel, less than or
minus 3.
equal to
Minus
minus 3. Why? Because the difference between 12 and 9 is 3.
Yeah.
And the
you're right.
larger number, 12, has a negative. So
Negative
negative
sign.
3. Is x
And we're
by
gonna-
itself?
No, we're going to
No.
multiply by
So
3.
what's
By
hap-
3.
What's happening with that x? It's being divided by 3. What's the opposite of division?
Multiply.
Multiplication. So we want to multiply by 3. Whatever we do on one side,
Do it on the other.
we do on the other. So the 3's cancel because 3 divided by 3 is 1. Anything times 1 or divided by 1 is itself. So we get x is less than or equal to minus 9. So your answer was not D, it's what?
I thought if it's okay, it's B, but I thought you're supposed to turn if it's the sign. You're supposed to if the number comes out negative.
No,
thought
I
you
did
were
not. I
supposed
did
to-
not say if it's negative. I said if you multiply or divide by a negative, you switch the sign. For example, let me show you what I mean. Say, for example, this was, so let me save this and I'm gonna change this problem just a little bit. I'm gonna change this problem so we can understand when to change that equality. So say, for example, instead of x over 3, it was minus x over 3.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, so we add 9 to both sides.
Mhm.
We get minus x over 3. The 9's cancel. Less than or equal to minus 3. We multiply both sides by 3. We get minus x less than or equal to minus 9. Because we have a negative x, we need to divide by -1. Whatever we
Right.
do on one side, we do on the other. The two
Mhm.
negatives make a positive. So we get
Positive.
x. And now because you divided by a negative, now you switch
Change
to
the sign.
inequality.
Okay, got it.
So this would be x greater than or equal to 9. So it's 2 reasons why you switch to inequality. When you're trying to get the x by itself, if you multiply or divide by a negative, or if your variable's on the right side. So for example, say the answer came out to 9 less than or equal to x. Your x is on the right side. So you switch them,
Mhm.
x on the left, 9 on the right, switch to inequality. That's the 2 reasons why you switch to inequality. If you're trying to solve for x, if you multiply or divide by a negative, or if the variable's on the right side. You learn something new today. How Kevin Hart said, "You gonna learn today."
I forgot.
Yes, listen. When you're doing math, you should be learning something new every day. Every single day. Why? Because you want those neurons, you want those electrical impulses in your brain to stimulate all those cells.
Mhm.
That's what happens. When you learn something new, I don't know if you realize this, there are electrical connections in your brain. So when you learn something new, they spark. So the more you learn, the more you got sparks. The more you got sparks, the more you stimulate those cells. The more you stimulate those cells, the smarter you get every single day. Stop playing. All right, so it is 7 o'clock. That's our time for this evening. I hope you enjoyed it if you're new. I hope you enjoyed it if you aren't new. But one thing I gotta remind you, practice using that calculator, going through that ebook, and taking those practice tests on Schoology. They will prepare you for your exam. Do not be discouraged if you get a 40, 50. That's not, listen, remember the passing score, all you need is higher than 58% on the GED. You don't need an 80 or 90. Or 40, 50, or 60. You shouldn't be discouraged. Work on your weaknesses and you will pass the exam. I'm telling you. Are any more questions before we leave this evening? Okay, everybody have a wonderful evening. Remember, if you're new this evening, make sure you drop your email into the chat so I have it, and I will put this on YouTube later this evening. Everybody have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Mr. Tinsley.
Thank
You're
you.
so welcome.
Thank you.
And we had 16 this evening.
I ain't hear you celebrate about your team though.
Oh yeah, I forgot.